What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. We may have the biggest BTFO in the Lord of the Rings versus Lord of the Rings. I don't like that so much. Lord of the Rings versus Lord of the Soy. I don't know. I'll think of something better. But there, the ridiculousness of modern new fans and new fans versus people that have actually read the books and have a deep understanding of the lore. Now, I do not have an extraordinarily deep understanding of the lore, although I've been edified on many important factors. Of course, I've seen the movies, but I've also read articles and spoken to you guys on my Gilded server or talked to other people. And so I know more than your average bear, I suppose, about it. But I think it's funny how people are looking at this mythical tale, this mythical European tale, and acting like, well, it's got to represent how things look today, and then they'll twist things into saying like, well, these toxic male fans never would have accepted a strong female character, except they did and have for 70 years. In fact, Critical Drinker absolutely destroyed a fellow YouTuber, Outstar, after she tweeted, knowing this scene exists and imagining the fan outcry that would have happened if it were released today is a nice wake-up call for how the online discourse changed in the last 20 years. So the idea is that everyone would call this like fake wokeness or whatever, even though if you'd actually watched the scene, right, you would understand why it works. Her whole thing, because the guy cannot be slain by any man, the whole thing is that she snuck out there onto the battlefield, and her idea of saying, I am no man, it's like written into the lore that he can be slain by a woman, right? I mean, that's the way it's implied anyway. And it's just bad. It's bad. This scene was written in the 50s. No one had a problem with this, is a fan. That's Quarter Black. Here's Nina saying, this scene was written in the book and was even more powerful when I read it. What's your point again? 1,100 likes. Nah, 20 years ago, we were already supporting strong women. Current crop of writers don't seem to know that. Nobody read about any of it. Pop culture didn't begin in 2016. Another excellent take. Obviously, we have strong female characters in Starship Troopers. We have the strong female character in The Fifth Element. Obviously, you have Trinity. You have Sarah Connor. You have, Kill Bill. You have Aliens. I'm not actually sure what movie this is here. It's not striking me, but anyway, yes, of course, there have been numerous strong females that everybody loved because they were written well and they were, not pandering, and they made sense, just like the women did in Lord of the Rings in initial writings. And I've never quite seen it's so bad. 3,000 likes. Nope, because, quote, real fans know that this is straight from the book. Nice try, but you failed here. And I don't have anything personally against Outstar. I think I've talked about her or takes she's had before. I don't have anything personal against her. I just think she thought she was going to have an easy dunk here. And, Lord of the Rings and Star Wars are like two things that you don't really mess with those fans that understand the deep lore. Because there are many of them, and they understand it quite deeply. And Critical's post receiving 17,000 likes. Now, I don't know how old this tweet is or how often they happen to tweet, but I don't know. It seems like there's probably a lot of copium going on. I don't think that, you should, people can have bad takes. Oh, here you go. 1,641 comments to 1,400 likes. I mean, no, people understood this scene. And, what's interesting is Lord of the Rings continues to get dunked on, too. When you see this for $1 billion show, this according to The Independent, why does the new Lord of the Rings trailer look so cheap? And you see, like, their article now. This is a big thing because news groups can't get anybody to click through because everyone knows their clickbait is trash. You say, look at some of the comments. The thing that made Lord of the Rings films good and the Hobbit films bad was the use of CGI. Lord of the Rings used practical effects and camera tricks as much as possible, whereas The Hobbit made almost everything CGI, which in turn made most of it all look terrible. This trailer looks like garbage Game of Thrones. It doesn't give the Lord of the Rings vibe at all. Yeah, it's probably closer to Narnia. Oh, yeah, it has Narnia vibes, I thought. Maybe that was subliminally in my head. It looks way too clean, but also painfully generic for what is probably the most iconic fantasy world. Yeah. I mean, I don't really, and again, this is the Independent, like a left-wing leaning media outlet. First impression is it looks cheap, but it really isn't to do with the CGI. It's a combination of too many close-up shots, the speed at which it was filmed, and the lack of film stock used. The framing needs adjusting. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think because it was unfinished, probably. They wanted to get it out for the Super Bowl. I don't know. For a $1 billion show, why does the new Lord of the Rings trailer look so bad? There's probably a lot of reasons. If Bezos is really that much of a Tolkien fan, he's no doubt familiar with the author's own gorgeous illustrations of his imagined Middle-earth. These picturesque drawings and watercolors, in tandem with his novels, define the Tolkien-esque aesthetic. When the series arrives, fan will be hoping to see more of that and less of the bland CGI and generic action sequences presented in the trailer. There's one illustration in particular that Bezos might feel kinship with in, quote, conversations with Smaug. Tolkien drew the unaccessibly wealthy dragon curled up atop a vast amount of gold and jewels. He guards so jealously, joylessly, hoarding wealth while impoverishing those around him. Oh, yep. I told you it was a left-wing website. Even they say it looked terrible. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what they think is going to happen here, but this show is going to be most likely a disaster. I just don't ever see them making $1 billion back. And with the Lord of the Rings licenses up for sale, I mean, God, please, Disney, stay away. Stay away from it, Disney. I don't need you to Marvelify Tolkien. Not that I wouldn't go to a Middle-earth theme park. That would legitimately be awesome. But, oh, God, now I kind of want Disney to do it. No. 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 Then you see this article. Lord of the Rings fans show their irritation by quote bombing the newly released trailer. After much anticipation and speculation, Amazon Studios finally released the first teaser trailer in Lord of the Rings, The Ring of Power, though it seems that the new sneak peek has left a lot of Tolkien fans unimpressed. Having spent nearly $1 billion in overall expenses, the company literally has a lot of money riding on this ambitious undertaking set to adapt the Second Age of Middle-earth in Tolkien's expansive legendarium. Over the past month, we've received a ton of new promo content for The Ring of Power, though none have gone particularly out of their way to hype fans or even justify the adaptation in the first place. And right there is the crux of it all, isn't it? This did not need to exist. This thing doesn't need to exist. Don't get me wrong, the series has the potential to rival Game of Thrones in terms of popularity. Rival it? It should be bigger by miles. Are you kidding me? The problem is a large portion of the fandom isn't sold on the premise of the series, which even the showrunners have described as the novel Tolkien never wrote. It's a novel nobody wants. Nobody wanted this. And if you're going to do it, it almost seems like you've got to get even better, right? Like, if you're going to do this, something that nobody asked for in the first place, I would argue that you're probably setting yourself up for failure, and that you're probably setting yourself up for an extraordinarily impossible to live up to standard. Some records shouldn't be broken, and Peter Jackson's rendition of the Lord of the Rings trilogy is all I ever need. I don't want more Lord of the Rings content. I don't. Better video games, some cool video games would be good. I don't want more Lord of the Rings movies. I don't want more Lord of the Rings shows. Now there's a Lord of the Ring anime coming out too. Thankfully, not from Amazon. But this was one of the most brutal drubbings I've ever seen. You see, Amazon paid $500 million to make the same mistake Disney did. Are these companies allergic to making money? Showing all the new characters and new characters. They never bothered to dig deeper into Erwin's motivation. She was in a state of despair and was driven to essentially go against what was expected of her. Erwin's arc is realizing she was wrong to go to battle. Her running out there with the hobbits completely outclassed, you know, it was her destiny. But that's what made it so awesome. I mean, this is you know, we're probably gonna not have too many more hot takes, but yeah, I think that this show is probably doomed to fail. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see any hype. The original fandom doesn't seem impressed. The trailer doesn't look great. The best you get is people holding out hope that it's going to be amazing. I don't know. I just don't see it. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.